we're talking with EJ Otero, correct?
Yes, indeed.
And he's a candidate for the House in Florida. And
11th District.
The 11th District?
Yes, sir.
And people are calling you the Hispanic Major West, or Lieutenant Colonel West, rather. How do you take to that?
Well, it's a compliment.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, of course, the big question is, what makes you want to run for this House seat?
Well, you know, I spent 28 years in the military, and towards the end, one of the things I saw was that the Obama administration for the past 3 years have been decimating the military. It's not new. It's not happening now with the $1 trillion cuts that he's looking at in the next 10 years. But has actually been going on long before that. Mm-hmm. And it is very sad when I see that my brothers and sisters in arms are going through the problems they're going through as far as support, because they really don't have anything to look forward in the back, especially when they listen to the Vice President of the United States saying that the Taliban is not our enemy. Right. They're fighting forward with that. So I realized that we have a problem of leadership. I could not continue anymore in the military, so I retired and took the battle outside. But this time, I would like to take the battle from inside Congress and fight for the country as it needs to be. We are decimating what is going on right now. Not only we're decimating the defense of our country, we're decimating the economy. These liberal ideas are destroying the foundation of what we stand for.
You were a colonel in which arm?
I was in the Air Force.
Air Force.
My last assignment was a United States Special Operations Command.
Okay, okay. Well, you know, we do know that this problem's been going on between the budget cutters and the military since way back. Reagan and Carter were even dealing with this. Reagan's idea was that regardless of your budget deficits, we should be improving the military and making it bigger. But we all know that our military right now is suffering. It's smaller. We're relying a lot more on National Guard units, what we never did before. What would you do to change, especially the National Guard situation that we have right now, where National Guard guys are going back and forth for years?
Absolutely, and they don't count that in the total numbers of people,
right?
Because they actually belong to the states. And what Obama has been doing in a very ignorant way, he has looked at the military, well, if we're losing 80,000 men, I'm going to cut 80,000 men from the Army. But hey, we still have a Special Forces and Navy SEALs, which are sexy. The only problem is that those folks take a long time to develop. They're the best of the best. They're not frontline soldiers. They are for specific events. So if you're cutting the rest of the military and you're not cutting Special Forces, what you're doing is you're increasing the amount of tasks that Special Operations people need to do, and the enablers that help them, such as helicopters, logistics, fuel, etc., those are being cut, and that will affect directly the sexiness that Obama is counting on the Special Operations people. So it is totally irresponsible, and I would call it nothing short of ignorant. He has been lazy looking at the total effect that he's really going to have in the military.
Yeah, I mean, he's cutting out the support out from underneath the very troops he claims he's going to rely on.
Absolutely. Irresponsibly so.
Well, we certainly don't want to call you a one-note Johnny in your election position. So what are other areas that you're interested in? For instance, the economy.
Well, very dear to my heart is the answer to our economic problem. The answer is not going to be today and tomorrow. We're going to build first by cutting taxes. We have to be committed to cutting taxes. We have to be committed to control spending, just like we do in our homes. But then we have to be creative in how we bring new money into the United States. And where is the new money? It's not in Europe. They're on fire economically. It's not in China, because we're borrowing, and it's actually their money that we have to pay back sometime. So where do we get new money to come to the United States? Well, it's a north and south philosophy. Go to where the money is: Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Panama, and exercise our presence in those countries, providing our business people top cover, policy top cover, going down there so they can negotiate fruitfully, and we can bring more money and more investments from there into the United States. Let's not forget, Brazil has $1 trillion on the table to spend worldwide every year. And we're only scratching the surface of that because Obama keeps telling them, well, we want you to come to Disney World. No, I don't want him just to come to Disney World. I want him to spend money in the United States, manufacturing automobiles, increasing the defense spending that they have in the United States. The oil rigs that they're building, buy those oil rigs in the United States and ship them out of Tampa, ship them out of Miami, ship them out of all the American ports so we can increase our shipping and cargo production going out. That's where the answer really lies for the short term in the next 5 to 10 years, bringing money back into the United States and creating jobs.
Well, one of the things that the president said in his latest State of the Union was that GM is back. But GM is living on a steady stream of tax rebates and lessening taxes in the various states. Even they're taking millions from the states themselves. So I don't think GM, in my opinion, is really back as an economic power because it's sort of a false record. And that leads me to the question, which is, what do you think about corporate welfare and things where all these businesses are getting big tax breaks in the states to come and set up shop?
We're done with that nonsense. I mean, big business, if you're doing well, you will be rewarded under a free market environment. You will be rewarded, absolutely. If you're not doing well, need to fold and go away. Never mind the brands. I know that some brands are dear to our hearts, but if they're not working, they're not working. We can actually learn and take a page from Ford automobile.
Right.
What Ford did, they declined any help from the government and they readjusted internally. What GM did, they took the money from the government and they didn't readjust anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have the Volt, the car, the Volt that is a total disaster because they're continuing in the same business plan that they have had for years. That's what happens when you have government welfare. The government has no business getting involved in acquiring 1/6 of the U.S. economy. No business.
So is it fair to say that you would have let GM fail if it had to, and no bailouts?
Absolutely, because when they fail, another company pops up with better ideas, with a better business plan, and better offer.
Well, and we were talking about investments from overseas and other countries investing in it. So that leads me personally to Israel, which has a great economy, and it has a great. Recently had a big what do you call it? Natural gas discovery there and things like that. So what would your policy be on Israel and working with Israel and working economically with Israel?
Well, Israel is a no-brainer, shall we call it. We have to be attached at the hip with Israel. Everything that we do in the world, anything that means stability in the world hinges on the presence of a stable Israel. Any kind of spacing between the United States and Israel bodes very bad for the stability of not only the Middle East, but for the world. Israel is key. Israel needs to be supported in every possible way. We need to partner with them without conditions, and unconditional support. Businesses from Israel, absolutely. We need to develop the businesses with Israel. They surely have been our brothers and sisters economically, and we need to continue encouraging them, opening our doors to them, because they certainly have opened their doors to us. So we need to reward that.
And the last question I have, bring it back to home and back to basically my first question to you, your Hispanic background. First of all, tell me a little bit about that, but then also tell me how the GOP can reach out to Hispanics, which seem to be increasingly fading toward the Democrats, regardless of the fact that Hispanic culture seems to be favorable to Republican ideas.
Absolutely. When I speak to the Hispanic groups, I have 500 people in the room. Let's say about 20% of them do not speak English. If I were to be any given candidate and I don't speak Spanish to them, I will lose that 20%. And the ones that are there will probably don't show any interest. There has to be a complete outreach from the Republican Party to that community. It turns out that there are some elements within the Hispanic community, like myself, like Senator Marco Rubio, who have done very well in our country. We have worked very hard. My father is Cuban. He came to the United States in 1948. He was one of the founders of Radio Marti in the 1980s. And my mother was a university professor. She got her PhD from NYU. She was born in Puerto Rico, and those are the examples that I followed. So when it came to schooling, I went to Iowa State University. I learned English even before I went to Iowa State. Let me clarify that. But I think it is imperative that the Hispanic community needs to understand that learning English is a key piece. But in the meantime, there has to be a reach out from the Republican Party telling them, this is your home. You have the faith values that we have. You have the hardworking values that we have. You have the family values that we have. But by and large, the Hispanic community has a mother and a father and children in the same household. When I talk to them, and I talk to them in Spanish, it resonates. They actually gravitate to what we have to say, and they stay after our meetings, and we talk for a very long time. So it does require some effort. It's not impossible. But me and my fellow Republican Hispanics need to reach out further and make this an essential target of growth for the Republican Party.
And of course, the biggest hurdle is the citizenship angle for so many millions of illegals that have come here. So the question is, of course, as a Hispanic and as a Republican, how do you address that issue? What would your solution be? And we know we need a solution. We can't just keep pushing these questions under the rug and moving further down the line. So what would a solution be from the Hispanic community? What are people telling you?
Let me say this very clear about the Hispanic community. They're not wrapped around the axle about the term illegal or undocumented. We want citizenship tomorrow. We want amnesty. We're creating that ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're putting this in discussions and in talking points. That community, they themselves, they're not really concerned about it. They know that they're illegal. Many of them, not all. They know that many of them are illegal. They know their situation in the United States. They know that they would like to be a contributing part of the society. And they know that they're not going to get citizenship tomorrow. And they know that amnesty is not an option. So what does that leave us with? Well, that leaves us with a very creative plan to see how do we bring those individuals into a participating function in society, short of a full-blown residence and citizenship. Because remember, we cannot make this a candy that everybody comes to the United States and you're going to be a citizen and a resident tomorrow. There has to be a process, and they understand that. And as long as you allow them a process that they can get out from the status that they are and participate by paying income taxes and so on, they're okay with that. When it comes to the criminals that are illegals, deport them immediately, no questions asked. You violate the law in a criminal way that warrants prison terms and so on, you're out of the country. And I know that the term illegal for the illegal immigrants, that by itself is an illegal, it's an illegal status, absolutely. But it is somewhat of a role in society. These individuals would like to participate, and let them do that. Let's allow them to participate in society. The bad ones, get them out. I have no issue with that. And you know, the thing is that those folks in the community, the Hispanic community, understand that, and they actually accept it. They have not turned around from the thinking of Marco Rubio and others.
Well, we want to thank Colonel EJ Otero, who is the House District 11 in Florida. He's running for the House seat there. Thanks for being with us.
What a pleasure, and I invite everybody to go to my website, www.ejoteroforcongress.com. Otero is spelled O-T-E-R-O. forcongress.com. Help us out. And
is that for as a letter for or F-O-U-R or F-O-R?
F-O-R.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes people put the number 4 in there. Well, thanks very much, and we appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And good luck.
Thank you.